guys, it's me, Alex, the stay-at-home reader. Hi, interrupting myself. So if you saw the previous video, you will know that what I ended up doing was splitting my chat of my favorite books of the year into 2 videos, just because one video was going to be way too long. Also, I had messed up and left out a book that I wanted to discuss. So here we go, second half of that video. So these are my top of the top. Enjoy! Secret Lives of Church Ladies by Deesha Philyaw. This is a short story collection. Just perfect. It's not long, like in its entirety, and I forget exactly how many short stories are in it, but they were great. Every single one of them was enjoyable, and I feel like that's not typically the case with a short story collection. Lots of identity, race and sexuality issues, a lot, as well as like kind of religious tones and where people fit in with their family's spirituality, with the church community, coming to terms with themselves, and it's a really good one. Silver Sparrow by Tayari Jones. This is a story about 2 sisters. Only one of them knows they are sisters. So this is a man with he's married, has a child, but he also has I guess secret family. They know about his, official family. And he's got a friend who kind of covers for him in both places. And so it's told first from the perspective of the secret daughter and all the things she has done without growing up, so that the legitimate daughter can have the better school, the better clothes, the better house. And then I believe it does switch perspective to the other daughter, figuring out who this like new friend of hers actually is, and like how that just kind of wrecks her world and ruins that friendship. But it was another very emotional book about family bonds and, who this father was to very different people to each daughter. Tayari Jones wrote An American Marriage. So, I mean, just the writing is amazing. She's very talented. The Four Winds by Kristin Hannah. This is the first Kristin Hannah book I have ever read. It was long, but it was worth it. I couldn't believe what happened toward the end. 5 stars, and it has made me want to read, oh my gosh, what is Grapes of Wrath. So it's basically a female motherhood perspective, like, of the Grapes of Wrath. My battery's gonna die, and this is like 40 minutes long already. I'm sorry. So let's try to get through this quick. Of course, these are like the top, and I'm gonna rush through them. But the Burning Young Readers Edition. This is a story of the Tulsa Race Massacre. Amazing history that I was never taught. The 100-year anniversary of the Race Massacre passed. I believe it was this year. I read a picture book version of, like, this. It was a picture book history to my kids, and so having listened to, actually this is another NetGalley audiobook, having listened to the Burning Young Readers Edition, I was really able to fill in and have further conversation with my kids about the Tulsa Race Massacre. It is graphic, not terribly, it's true. It's what happened, and we need to know about it, right? It's sad, It's devastating. It is true American history. Read it. Listen to it. Learn it. The Hen Who Dreamed She Could Fly. This one by Hwang. I'm sorry for my pronunciation. That is a Korean name. I don't speak Korean. Beautiful story. Perspective of a hen on a farm who decides she wants to hatch one of her eggs. And she ends up running away into the woods to fulfill her dreams of motherhood. And it doesn't happen for her in a traditional way. So even though the characters are all animals, with exception of this farmer who, you know, is in the background of the story, it's very allegorical, and you can really see a statement about the treatment of women, women's place in society, class. I absolutely loved it. That was a library book. I immediately bought my own copy off of Thrift Books, as well as a second book by the author, The Dog Who Dared to Dream, which was also very good. Not quite as good as The Hen Who Dreamed She Could Fly. So if you have to pick one of them, go with The Hen. But go ahead and read both. Shuggie Bain by Douglas Stuart. This was a group read for the it's a queer lit book club that I have joined on Instagram, Queer for Lit. I don't remember exactly what the book club name is, but it's run by Ian. His Instagram handle now is Critical Gaze. This was a fantastic group discussion. I mean, it's a fantastic book. It's a chunky book. It's behind me somewhere. Oh, I don't even know. There it is. This one. The cover on this book. Oh, the cover alone, if I look at it long enough, I cry. Just look at that mother and son love. And it was hard. So it's a story of Shuggie and his family and growing up poor in Scotland in the 80s. He is gay, but I feel like it's less about that and more about growing up with an alcoholic mother, and her addiction becomes the meat of the story. And so I found it to be an incredibly emotional book. Some of the criticisms from people who didn't enjoy it felt like it was dry and it lacked emotion. I was riding this roller coaster with Shuggie Bain, like in Agnes, the mother, in her sober periods. Like, you just feel all the hope, and you can do it, Agnes. And then she takes a drink, and I am just devastated along with her children. Beautiful, beautiful book. Gorgeous. 5-star Shuggie Bain. Please read it. Magic Lessons. This is the third book in the Practical Magic series by Alice Hoffman, but it is actually chronologically the first story. So she's written this series backwards. For Christmas, I got the Book of Magic, which is the 4th published book in the series. I'm not sure where it fits in, like in the Owens family chronology. But this one goes all the way back to Maria Owens, who comes to New England colonies and is a witch and a single mother, and it deals with her daughter and her kind of butting heads, being separated, her daughter finding magic. And this was my favorite so far. Like I said, I just got the most recently published book, so we'll see if that one kind of takes top place for me. But I think the time period, the setting, and the mother-daughter issues in this book make it my favorite in the Practical Magic series. That one was a 5-star. Okay, this was another, I don't think you can even read this. This was another book in the Queer for Lit book club on Instagram. Everyone in this room will someday be dead, by Emily something. I don't know. This book was amazing. This book is about Glinda, a young single woman suffering from very severe anxiety disorder, a lot of health anxiety. So we meet her in the emergency department of a hospital, and right away you can tell that the workers in the hospital are like, oh, you again? What is it this time? And it's all in her head. It's panic attacks. And she ends up visiting a church, she believes, for a support group, but there's like this mistaken identity. They think she's there to apply for a position as a secretary in the church. And so she's like, sure, I'll do that. So she is an atheist, she is a lesbian, and now she is hiding those aspects of herself to work in this Catholic church. And then in the background, there's kind of like a murder mystery that she kind of gets embroiled in. It becomes an obsession of hers. But she's probably the most relatable character of 2021. Just from like an I am prisoner of my own anxiety standpoint. And what's funny is that in the group discussion on Instagram, someone mentioned like, oh yes, I love that this is a Canadian author. And then the American readers in the group were like, oh, that makes sense. No wonder she can afford to go to the hospital with every panic attack. And so we had this lovely discussion of the flaws of the medical health, of like the United States medical mental health care system. That was great, but not great. But the book, it's wonderful. Highly recommend. It was sad, yet heartwarming. A lot of people said it was hilarious. I didn't find it hilarious. Like, I could recognize that it was written with humor, but it was never laugh out loud for me because it was very real. Like, it was a lot of the things I feel on page. And like, yeah, from the outside looking in, I could see where this is humorous, because if you don't laugh at yourself, you will cry. But it wasn't haha funny for me the way it was for some people. So if you have read it, let me know if you found it hilarious or relatable. And if you have not read it, do. Number 2 and number 1, I don't know which one is top. So I'm just going to say tied for my favorite reads of the year are Nightbitch and by Rachel Yoder and Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. Both of them pretty surreal. Nightbitch more so, and this is another weird ass story about motherhood identity, loss of identity. It's about a woman who's convinced she's turning into a dog, and what learning to be a stay-at-home mom is like for her, giving up aspects of herself and finding peace with this new sense of self, and literally turning into a dog. And then Piranesi is a story of a man in a, you don't know where he is. It's kind of covers all genres. There's a mystery, there's fantasy, there's sci-fi, there's crime, it's super literary. So there's a man who lives in this house that has these like endless hallways and endless rooms, and it's full of statues, and each statue tells a story, and the house just provides. And he doesn't exactly know where he doesn't even know his true name, but it's him and another person who he calls the other, and the other, you come to realize, is very manipulative of him. And it's just it's a hard book to describe. It won the Women's Award for Fiction this year. It was my pick of the shortlist. Obviously, it's my top book of the year. Have you read it? Are you interested in reading it? Highly recommend it. Like I said, it covers all genres. So there's going to be some element of it you like. And as you read it, you like kind of follow what's going on, but at the same time, that makes no sense. And then it all wraps up. It's got like dark academia. It's just chef's kiss, perfection. Loved it. Yep. All right. So Piranesi is my favorite book of the year. I will check in with you soon. My phone is about to die. Bye.